So, as mentioned, I'm coming from one of the most innovative cities in the world. As you may know, Barcelona is not only one of the leading cities, in the smart cities movement, one of the first cities that started with smart city projects. We have more than 100 projects, smart city projects now and counting. We are also we were awarded the Innovation Capital of Europe, and we are the current mobile capital also in Barcelona. So today, the purpose of this talk is to bring you through a journey in which I will try to explain how we set up our smart city strategy and how this smart city strategy has evolved over the time up to the current approach we are having today. So Barcelona, in Barcelona, innovation has always been very present in the city since its foundation during the Roman period up until now. Barcelona has contributed many innovative ideas to the world, be it in the urbanization domain with the CERTA plan, being a convener for the exchange of international knowledge and innovative ideas during the Universal Exposition, also contributing with a unique model of understanding the Olympic Games and how organizing such an event can have a positive impact in the city with a huge renewal and transformation project that occurred at the beginning of the 90s up until today with the smart city strategy. So how did it all began? Well, Barcelona began its smart city strategy in 2007 when we created our first city information system. From that moment, we can sort of divide the process of becoming a smart city in three very clear periods. The first one was between 2007 and 2011, led by the Chief Information Officer at that time at the City Council, Pilar Conesa, who's also the CEO of AnteVerti, the organization I work for. So under her leadership, what happened is we started by developing some e-government initiatives, that is, how to make the government more flexible and bringing the government more close to the people in order to be more efficient, into this first vision on how to become a smart city. So from this first vision come a second period where there was the development of the smart city project. So from a vision to specific projects, right? We didn't start with a strategy. We started with some projects, and then it was in 2013 when we started with the first smart city strategy. So in this period, besides developing some of the projects that I will explain today, we also work in two other very important legs of this smart city strategy. One, trying to also share our knowledge on how a city should be understood, and I will talk a bit more about that later. So it's important, before becoming a smart city, we need to know how does a city work, right? And the second thing is the international dimension. So we cannot understand the success of Barcelona Smart City without the international dimension. And this comes partly with the organization of a world-leading event, the Smart City X World Congress, that this year we are having the 9th edition, in which we also explain the world our projects. And we also try to foster this smart cities movement. That's why we are doing here today in Daegu, which is very important. So complementing the smart city strategy also with an international event. And finally, in this period, what was very important, the two aims of this smart city strategy was how to use technology, right, to first of all foster economic development in the city and also foster well-being. So it was partly technology-driven agenda. In 2015, there is a change in the government with the current Mayor Ada Colau, who was a former housing activist, and from that moment on, the concept of smart city was rethought from the ground up. So we even rethought how governments should be working with technology. And from here on, we took an approach to an open, equitable, circular, and democratic city. I would say more a human-centered or citizen-centered approach to the smart city, and that's being led by the current CIO of the City Council, Francesca Bria. So as I mentioned, how it all started? Well, we needed to know how does a city work in order to create a smart city, right? To become a smart city. And one of the first projects was the development of what we call the city anatomy that was developed by at that time, the chief architect of the city, Vicente Guayar, who sort of understood the city in different components and different layers. We have the structure, we have the information, and we have the society. And what are these components of the city? So at the top and also very importantly, those components are not unique to Barcelona. Those are components that are present in every city in the world. So we have the environment. Then we have, in terms of infrastructure, all cities have ICT networks, water, energy, matter, mobility, and nature. All cities have also a built domain, from small unit of a house to a neighborhood, and then the city or the metropolitan area. All cities have also some information flows, some public and social services, and finally, we all have people in our cities, which should be also at the center of every smart city strategy. So once we understood how a city works and how we improve the working of those cities, what we did is we developed 22 smart programs in a variety of domains. You see here that go from urban platforms, but also to education, health, open government, citizenship. So we developed a variety of smart city programs from 2011 to 2015. I'll explain very briefly, because I'm running out of time, some of those programs. You see, some of those solutions are probably familiar to you. We started with a network of sensors, but also providing some wireless and sensors in lampposts in the street, some digital platforms in transportation hubs, some smart waste bins where we could basically know when they were filled, so we could optimize the waste collection at the city. We took also into consideration the healthcare with these smart buttons that the elderly could use in order to indicate that they were not feeling well. And very importantly, we developed an urban platform, right? Every city, every smart city, this is basically the basis of most smart cities in order to manage data and improve that. Two important things of the current urban platform that we have today. It's open source. This means that can be shared also with other cities and third parties. And not only the urban platform itself is open source, but also the sensors platform we are using. So all this network of sensors we have and that we used to measure a variety of parameters such as noise, pollution, and others. It's open source. It's called the Centilo platform. So in the case of Barcelona, we have so the Barcelona platform is only one instance of this open source Centilo platform. So how does it work today? Today we have roughly 3 million of records of information per day from a variety of typologies: energy, noise, garbage, water meter, that help us understand how the city is working real time and base our decisions on that. Another very important project, urban transformation. We developed a 20-ad innovation district based on the idea of clusters. We tried to bring here business, but also academia, but also entrepreneurship, but also citizens. So try to create this unique ecosystem where new ideas could be developed and tested, you know, with also some living labs being installed in this part of the city. We also there was also a huge political will of fostering what we call fabrication labs, where we can also test and prototype new smart city solutions that could be implemented and replicated in many other parts of the city. And we come to the current state of the smart city. Was, as I mentioned at the beginning, with the change of government, there was this idea of rethinking what is a smart city for Barcelona, and specifically what should be the role of technology in this smart city to try to put citizens at the very center of the smart city. It's linked with concepts such as democratic cities, so trying to foster participative projects with the citizens. There is this leading project called the City Platform, which means We Decide platform. It's an open source platform that basically helps with things such as, for instance, the first project, Vision for the City, was done through the collection of inputs from citizens using this open source platform, but also the idea of rethinking the digital rights of the citizens by creating a digital a charter of digital rights. Those are the kind of projects that the current government is implementing. Also, most notably, they are not doing a smart city strategy, but they prefer to call it a digital city strategy. So I will end with two tips. The first one, visit the Smart City Expo World Congress next year in November. As I mentioned, it's one of the instances that the city used in order to promote its smart city strategy. It is still today a meeting point for not only for getting to know the smart city strategy of Barcelona, but also other smart city strategies worldwide. And the second thing, at AnteVerti, besides providing advisory to the Smart City Council on Smart Cities, we are also creating content on smart cities. So I would recommend you to visit our blog to stay up to date with the latest smart city developments. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Marta Belser, for your excellent presentation. The AnteVerti